Hey everyone, I just got back from Origins Game Fair 2023 in Columbus, Ohio. I thought I'd tell you about some of the things that were highlights to me, even though I didn't get to check out quite everything I liked. I did get to walk the hall a little bit. I was mainly hanging out with people teaching Mango Cabana and playing other games and just spending time with people. I got to teach games at different times and got to show some of the new prototypes. I worked for Catastrophe Games and Valor Mountain Games, but I was also there just spending time with friends and so forth. But I'll go ahead and talk about some things that stood out to me. One of the best things for me was seeing the vendors that were up at the front this year. I'm not sure if they were at the front in previous years, but they stood out to me. So especially All Plays, nice booth, and they of course have that same booth with all the demo tables and everything else, but they were right at the front. And Chip Theory Games, they looked great. Both of them looked great. I know they both sold out of several games and titles that they had for the show. Arcane Wonders also looked great, as well as 25th Century. It was good to see all those vendors there. Doing that, there were some vendors that were different and missing. There were a lot of new vendors this year, and that was interesting. But there were a lot of familiar faces, like Weird Giraffe was closer to the front, and Surfing Meeple, and some of the other ones that I'd like to go and visit, like Grand Gamers Guild too. But most of my time again was spent over in the Vince Hall, which on Saturday was incredibly busy. It was full to the brim. They had to get out extra tables and so forth. I saw so many new events. There were really thousands of events over the weekend, so that was really cool to see, and it was good to interact with people at the events that we were running too. But there were a lot of families that showed up over the weekend. I don't know what the exact numbers are. I haven't seen those yet. That was cool to see, and the event hall was just packed Saturday. I am going to include kind of a quick run through a part of the vendor hall. I didn't get quite all of it because I was so busy. Part of the vendor hall at the end of this, which is like half an hour to 45 minutes of me walking around the vendor hall, sped up really fast so that you can only have to see about 70% of it in approximately 7-8 minutes or so. In any case, some of the games that stood out to me, I got to see Halls of Montezuma over by where we were teaching and playing games, and that game was in the Armchair Dragoons. Halls of Montezuma is co-designed by Kevin Bertram, and right now his co-designer is failing me, but I know it's a longtime friend of his, and it covers the period before the Civil War that kind of led to the events that in some ways helped start the Civil War with the war in Mexico and our annexation of parts of their lands as we beat them. But Halls of Montezuma is another game along the lines of Shores of Tripoli, but a little bit different. I got to see some of the new artwork. Not all the cards were finished. The map looked great. I'm really looking forward to playing that game. It looked really nice. But Fire in the Library from Carla at Weird Giraffe Games, got to finally play the card game version of that. The card game version I even liked better. And it has a little bit of meanness that isn't in there in the original game, so it was fun to see that as you did the push your luck thing. It's fun anyways, but I really like the cards out on the table and getting to see that. The next thing that I got to see was My Island, which is already out in Germany, but it's a Thames and Cosmos game. I got to see that on Sunday morning. All the days are kind of blurring together for me now, but that game is a follow-up to My City. It's another Reiner Knizia game, and My Island is going to have that kind of that same kind of feel, but it's on an island. And I already liked My City, but it looks like it added some stuff to it, and I will have some pictures of that in the blog if you want to check that out more. The next one is Red Rain Fall. Was a game I checked out in the Unpub room. There were several things I liked in there, but I'm not sure where they're going to end up. I have a feeling that Red Rain Fall is going to get picked up by someone. It has some really neat things, and he has these kind of floating city things, and you're managing water. Thousands of years, it's this myth thing, but thousands of years before Mars gets to be what it is today. So it has this board, and you're moving it, this magnetic piece around the board, and it was a really cool kind of kinetic thing. It's going to take a big company to do that piece, both the floating cities and the movement around the board, but it looks like it's set up to be in the Terraforming Mars family if like Stronghold picks it up. So that was interesting, and I do love Terraforming Mars. It's a much lighter game, of course, and a different sort of game. So I could see it fitting with the theme and everything else. Next is Logic and Lore, another Weird Giraffe game by friends Darren and Jason here in Cincinnati, but they're going to be having the end of the game. I actually got to see the physical prototyping box for that. The artwork looks great by Jason, and it's going to fit right into their line of games. But it's a deduction game. Got to play the prototype way back when it didn't have that name, but I'm really excited to see that, and it is a neat little game. Next thing is actually seeing Silicon Valley, which is fulfilling from Colossal. Well, it might be Grail Games, but same family of publishers there from Surf and Meeple, seeing that they had that ready to go. And of course, Lost Empires is getting out there to people too. I know I have mine, and I'm going to play mine some more, and I'm going to share more about mine, but I haven't written about it because I haven't played it enough yet. But seeing Silicon Valley out there again, and Come Together, I'm probably going to be covering it on the channel soon too. Come Together just has such great little components. Of course, they sold out of Revive that weekend, because Revive is a fantastic game, and according to them, they're going to have 4,000 more copies going to be in distribution very soon, available for people to get, because it is such a great game. The other things I kind of want to point out was I already liked Free League Publishing's their RPG stuff. I felt like it was one of the strongest RPG presentations at the show this year. I liked all of their covers and what they were doing, what they were showing there. If I were going to pick something up, I just don't have the time to pick up another RPG. It would probably be their newest edition of Lord of the Rings, although it is a lighter version of like 5e type of stuff. It's its own thing, and it has some basic classes for people to get into. It'll probably be one of the things that I do just because I love that IP anyway. I did also get to check out a new game from Cosmos about Lord of the Rings. It's very light. I don't think it's for me, but it's a light kind of roll and move Lord of the Rings adventure to Mount Doom, I believe is what it's called, and I got some pictures of that, and I'll share that in the blog too. But it will be good for families or somebody looking for something extremely light. It's even lighter than the other co-op game that came out this last year from Ravensburger and Marcus Game and so forth. The next thing I saw that I really liked and that I want to play personally soon is The British Way from Stephen Rangazza's. I hadn't seen that game yet in person. It's a GMT game, and I was kind of on the fence about it, but after seeing it in person at the Armchair Dragoons booth, I think that I'm going to check it out myself and probably pick up a copy and play it, because I like the coin games anyways. I just wasn't sold on that particular game itself, but that one, after seeing it in person, I think it does look pretty good. The next one is Distilled. Distilled is a game where you're a family and you are it's been fulfilling, and it's fulfilled, and it's been in retail actually for a little bit now. I've seen it, but it is a game where you are brewing spirits like rum or tequila or agave, which would be a tequila, of course. But these different spirits. The game looked like it was very well done. There was good presentation, and again, it just wasn't quite for me. But Mission Control is one I am going to try to pick up later from 3WS. I checked that out. I just know I'm not going to have a chance to play it now and in the next month or so I didn't pick that up yet. It is a 2 to 4 player roll and write game set up in space where you're trying to deal with some problems. I looked at the box. I liked the artwork. I liked the components. I just knew I wasn't going to have a chance to check it out yet, and that's why I didn't pick the game up yet. But Mission Control from 3WS does look quite interesting. 2 to 4 player roll and write. I did also check out the new roll and write from All Play. That one wasn't quite for me, but I finally did pick up a copy of Mountain Goats, and we played that. We really like it, and I also got the 5-player expansion, so if you're coming to a game night locally soon, I will be bringing that. I don't think it's quite the same as Can't Stop, but you can see where it has some of the building blocks of that game. The next game I want to mention is Ahua, which is... I might be saying that wrong, but it's the Rulers of Yucatan game from Grand Gamers Guild, which had a phenomenal table presence. I didn't get to play it yet, but I really liked seeing it laid out and seeing the demos going. Again, I was busy with a lot of my own events, and every time I went by there, people were checking that game out, so I wasn't able to check it out at the show, but the table presence did surprise me, and it looked really good. 2 more that I think looked pretty good, and again was pretty busy most of the time. First one is Dice Veggies from Kids Table Board Games, KTBG, and they had all, of course, their beautiful presentation of all their stuff out. And that game is from some brothers. It's a little game, has a bunch of dice, and I liked how it looked. I just haven't got to play it yet. Again, really liked checking that out. The final one that I have played before, but now I got to see a presentation of it, and I would hope that it does really well because it has art from Ian O'Toole, and it was good to see him at the show, was Galactic Cruisers. It's a Vita Lacerda type game, big setup where you are taking people to space on vacation in the future, but it kind of looks like the 1960s. I think it's going to do very well and will be hitting crowdfunding later this year. Of course, we had our own games, Mango Cabana and Arabian Struggle and Solder City, which are all games that will be hitting Kickstarter later this year too. But you're going to probably see those from me anyways as how to plays are coming. I actually already made the how to play for Mango Cabana. Those are what we have. I hope you enjoyed the walkthrough. Let me know what you wanted to see from Origins that I didn't cover, or maybe I can tell you about. Happy gaming. I'll catch you later. Is your game?
Yeah, this is Castlescape.
Yeah, cool.
Castlescape is a 2 to 4 player area control deck building game. Over the course of the game, what you're trying to do is jockey for position on this board to create enclosures with these castle walls. Right now, yellow has this couple of spaces in here, so they scored 2 points for doing that. Over the course of the game, you're going to be using these cards in order to place castle walls and place your recruits to have those influence. The cards might say different things like add walls or add recruits or spend gold. The gold is very important as well because we have this rotating market of cards. Throughout the game, you're going to be buying these cards to make your deck better, because as you play, you'll have to shuffle up and play with those cards. So you want to make your deck as good as possible. It plays very well with 2 players, plays very well with 3 and 4 players. Right now we're selling copies for $55 for Kickstarter pricing. If you'd like to have a demo, happy to do that.